Hello and welcome back. I'm Luan with Agave Gardens in Centennial, Colorado. And this excellently wise, wonderful person standing next to me is Shane. He is the head of Agave's houseplant jungle, which it really is. And we're here today to talk about succulents, that specialty group within the broader group of houseplants. And we were just talking, Shane, and you're saying that succulents, while they have been popular for a long time, are just getting more and more popular as we go along. Why is that?
Absolutely. With all the hustle and bustle that came about after we got out of COVID, things like a tropical plant, you got to water it regularly and take care of its needs, as to where something like a succulent, like what we have before us, they only need water maybe once a week, maybe once every other week. Something like a cactus, maybe even just once a month in our climate.
Two things we want to establish going in. Succulent, by definition really, holds water in its leaves, its stems, sometimes its roots,
Absolutely.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Cactus are succulents, but a whole lot of plants that are succulents are not cactus. So don't be afraid by thinking that, oh, I don't want to get poked, I'm not going to go with succulents. We're going to show you how many beautiful, non-thorned, non-pokey plants there are in this succulent world. The other thing is overwatering, not your plant if you are inclined to love your plant so much that you water all the time.
It's true. Most people are actually going to kill these things with too much love from water, as to where these things will thrive on neglect.
I love them for their architecture.
Absolutely.
And it is across the board what kind of shapes and textures and personalities that these plants really exhibit. So I've asked Shane to pick out some that he thinks are very approachable succulents, not fussy in general. So we're going to go down these and then talk a little bit more about their care. So this one is pretty familiar.
Absolutely. It is our Cula Jade. Super nice one, holds all that water in the leaves, like she was saying. No spines at all on this one. This one will get bushy, and the nice thing about it, it's also an easy propagator. So if you do overwater, it is a savable plant a lot of times. But probably once every other week on watering is more than enough. They keep this nice green color. During the summertime, they have a little red right on the edge of the leaves, and that'll get really pronounced in the summer with the extra sun.
This little guy has so much personality.
Absolutely.
Attitude.
And they're fun. This one's in its juvenile stage, really. This one, most commonly, is called the donkey tail. It will actually spill over the side of your pot. So if you're part of the thrill, fill, spill method with your succulents, this is a great one to just hang over. It'll create a long rope with those lovely little leaves. And when it first starts, it almost looks kind of like a flower a little bit.
And this guy, really interesting. I mean, just look at those little flowers. What are we talking about here, Shane?
Absolutely. This one is most commonly known as the crown of thorns. Great flowering plant. This one is spiny, however. I say crown of thorns, definitely a biblical reference to that. But spring and fall is when it's most commonly going to flower.
And talking about watering in general before we move on, when you water, a few basic tips on how, when, why to water, what to look for.
Certainly. My preferred method for watering any plant that I have, including my cactus and succulents, is having a tray underneath and then bottom watering into that tray and letting the plant soak up what it needs.
This beauty here, I'm in love with this. This may disappear as I do. What do we got here, Shane?
Perfect. This one's one of the many varieties of Echeverias. The cool thing about this plant is, of course, the rosette looks like a flower, but as you can see in this particular specimen, that it's actually about to put out flowers itself.
What's this handsome fellow?
This one here is an Agave Quadricolor. This particular variety of agave is famous for pupping. As you can see right here by my finger, there's a little pup starting to sprout up. And as it gets tight in the pot with the roots, it will start to shoot up pup. Agaves, you do want to be careful if you have children, of course. The ends do have little sticker poker spines.
And last but not least, this beautiful barrel cactus. Look at that.
So cactus in general are just another great one. A lot of these, especially during the winter time, a watering once a month is more than enough for this guy. The roots go dormant in the winter. The lower light is what triggers that. And especially in climates where they're planted in the ground, the cold also puts them into that dormancy.
All right. Tell us briefly about fertilizing. Yes, no, maybe.
Probably your best go-to for most succulents is going to be the cactus and succulent. This particular one's from Espoma. It's a nice gentle one. It's a 1-2-2 on the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium levels, also known as your NPK rating. For succulents, definitely this low end guy is good. I did bring over tomato fertilizer, which might kind of raise an eyebrow to some of you.
My eyebrows are raised.
The tomato fertilizer actually works really well for your cacti. It helps with root growth. A couple times a year, say if you go quarter strength, you might be able to do it once a month. But less is always more when it comes to succulents and fertilizing.
Right. One last question. Soil. It's really critical about getting the right soil for this kind of plant, these succulents.
So this soil from our local grower Crumps is a great option because it's 50% potting mix soil, and then it's got some lava rock and some perlite and other options in here that don't hold water near as much as, say, your standard potting mix. The other option that we regularly carry is from the company Black Gold. This one's even better for your succulents. It doesn't quite have as great of a draining capability as my Crump soil, but this one will hold a little more water, which is better for your soft succulents and things like your crown of thorns. But two great products that we carry. On occasion, we have some other options, but these two are really the best when it comes to potting up your succulents and your cacti.
That's what you would use at home.
Absolutely, it is what I use at home.
Okay. So, as you can see, this guy's brain is so full of information it just never stops. Succulents, one of his specialties, one of many.
Absolutely.
Come see all of the wonderful plants he has because he is really keeping Tagawa stacked to the rafters with beautiful succulents. So many choices that you can make. You can pick his brain, you can pick the brain of his handy, trusty, lovely staff, and go home knowing what you're buying and knowing how to take care of it in the very best way. After all, we are Tagawa's, your garden store, and so much more. If you like this video, please share it with your friends and find others like it on our Tagawa Gardens YouTube channel. Also, find us on Facebook and Instagram.